I'm sure we've all heard me talk about my three beautiful wiener dogs, Leo, Mabel, and Frank. And I'm going to talk about how I got my dog Frank today. Frank is 9 years old, and we got him from the Cedar Bend Humane Society in Waterloo, Iowa, about a year and a half ago today. And I say this because I'm a big advocate of adopting animals instead of buying them from pet stores and breeders. So almost all of us have come to the point where we want to buy a pet or get a pet, and we don't know where to get them from. And a lot of people shy away from shelters because they're not purebred dogs, or they're not puppies. A lot of us like puppies, and that's why they like to get pet store puppies. And two of my dogs are from breeders, unfortunately, but I'm not saying that because I don't love them. I do love them, they're awesome, but I'm saying this because there are two sides to both of the spectrum. I am familiar with both sides of it. And any dog can be a good dog, and although any dog can be a good dog, I think that we should cut ties with pet stores and puppy mills, and instead sell and advertise pet shelters. And so what I'm going to talk about today is why stores shouldn't affiliate with puppy mills, and why we should instead sell or advertise pet shelters there instead. And for the purpose of my argument, I'm going to use the term commercial breeding establishment, which is also CBE, so it doesn't sound as terrible. So first I'm going to talk about the lives of dogs in CBE, and according to Kaylee Berger, quote, puppy mill is a term used to describe a commercial dog breeding facility that profits from selling puppies on a large scale. Those operating puppy mills frequently prioritize profitability at the expense of their animals' well-being, end quote. And most CBEs are run by former farmers, and they are in rural areas which don't get checked on as often by inspectors, so they can go awry and they don't see what's actually going wrong. And according to Berger, there are 72.8 million dogs in the US, and the demand for a purebred dog is high, which there's a dark side to the cute puppies in the stores. So the dogs in CBEs do not live pleasant lives. If they stay their whole life in a CBE, they're breeding. So when a female is old enough to breed, which isn't very old at all, I feel like it's about 6 months, they are breeding for their entire life, and they're pregnant for their time that they're being there. So as soon as they have their litter, they are again pregnant right after that. And, quote, mother dogs are killed when they're no longer able to produce a profitable litter size, according to Friends of Animals. So while living there, dogs are kept in confined cages, and there's no social interaction. So because of that no social interaction, there is behavioral problems. And according to Mental Health of Dogs, quote, CBE dogs displayed significantly higher rates of fear, house soiling, and compulsive staring, unquote, than non-CBE dogs. So after being bred, the fun ride to the pet store is actually not such a fun ride. According to Friends of Animals, puppies are removed after 7 weeks after they are born. So there can be 10 puppies in a crate, and I'm assuming the crates aren't very large. They didn't say how big the crates were, but there's 10 puppies in there. There's limited ventilation, food, and water. And then some of the puppies die. Out of the puppies that do survive, they can contract contagious viruses, parasites, and other conditions caused by neglect and stress. And if they don't get adopted, they are either given back to the breeder, which can lead to euthanization by the breeder, and they can be given to pet shelters eventually anyways by these pet stores if they aren't adopted, or not adopted, bought, I'm sorry, or they can just be sent home with an employee for free. So when these pet stores get dogs, they sell them for about $1,500 to $1,000, when in reality they were bought for $100. So eventually they get brought down to their break-even price, and if they aren't even sold at that price, they just get sent home with an employee, or they get given away. Next, I'm going to talk about the terrible rank that Iowa has among the 50 states in the US, and we are ranked 49th out of 50 in animal abuse and justice. And according to Animal Legal Defense Fund of 2014, there are a few key points. First point, quote, there are no provisions for veterinarians or others to report suspected animal abuse, unquote. So it wouldn't be viable in a case, if there ever was a case, which is highly unlikely in Iowa, that their knowing of abuse would be viable in that case. And second, quote, there's no mandatory forfeiture of animals upon conviction, end quote. So there's no law saying a convict of that sort can't have animals again, so they could just keep doing it over and over again. So now what I'm going to talk about is what we can do to try to solve this problem. Pet stores need to stop selling from CBEs, and they need to start selling or promoting shelter dogs. And no matter their past, these dogs can always be normal dogs. There's a study done where dogs were looked at after being adopted, and the physical and behavior changes in dogs when kenneled. Testing the validity of stress parameters article says, quote, the emotional balance of responses was ambiguous and not definitive. No definitive evidence was found to suggest that dogs were negatively stressed by kenneling, unquote. So this means that dogs really show their true colors when they're around people that they trust. And the reason that a lot of them don't get adopted in shelters is that they're put off by the attitude that the dogs give off when they're in a kennel, but in reality that dog is just really stressed out and confused as to why they're in the kennel anyways. And by doing this, we can also lower the euthanasia rates in shelters. According to the ASPCA website, quote, each year approximately 2.7 animals are euthanized. And of the dogs entering shelters, approximately 35% are adopted, but 31% are euthanized, unquote. And by encouraging adoption, we can lower these rates, and a lot are overlooked by their age. Again, they're not always puppies, but sometimes they are, so I would also just encourage just to look and see if there are puppies in there, or by the color of their fur. So black dogs, they're like predominantly not adopted over, I don't know, white dog per se. There's like in black cats, that's in black cats too. So I'm gonna talk about my baby Frank, and this is him. Oh, maybe not. This is him. Well, we got him. Well, we didn't get him this day, but this is when I saw him at the shelter, and I took a picture of him. I sent to my mom, and I thought he was cute. And so when I got into the shelter, I was just there to like give out treats to the doggies because I felt bad for them. And I saw him in a little back room, like the area that he's in, you can see it's like not exactly a kennel, like a typical kennel. There's like a glass door in here, and it's like not covered on the top either. But when you get inside of it, you can see his little food bowl and water and his little blankie. He had a little cot that he could sleep on, which kind of made me feel bad. He didn't have a like soft bed. But anyways, I told my mom about it, and the next day we came back and got him. So this brings me to my conclusion. And as we discussed, the process of CBEs going to the pet stores is pretty gruesome. The living quarters of these CBEs are inhumane and torturous, and Iowa is ranked 49th out of 50 in the continental, well, actually the whole U.S. because of our laws and our justice system. And to help improve the rank, we need to stop affiliating with CBEs and pet stores and start selling shelter animals. So we all get choked up on the Arms of the Angels commercial with the ASPCA, but do not donate to the ASPCA unless you know that you're not directly giving to that shelter. Because there's only one and it's in New York, so there's not really a whole lot of diversity. That's just a side note. And we can do something right now to prevent dogs from dying, and that is from adopting from shelters. And whether pet stores stop or not, do not buy from pet stores. I would just say don't even go in, because those cute puppies are just going to steal your heart. You're going to want to buy one. And if you do buy one, you're not rescuing them from that pet store. You are actually encouraging the abuse of animals in CBEs. So instead of promoting animal abuse, we need to adopt and also spay and neuter your pets.